Welcome, everybody, to this week. And what a week it has been. We've had an amazing market. Well, if you like roller coasters, that is. But we're going to get to that, of course, in a moment as we get through another Sunday. This is our last show before the big Christmas live stream, which is coming up in 1 week. That's going to be an earlier stream because I have commitments later in the day. I think right now we're looking at about 11 a.m. Eastern, I believe. So we'll have to take a look when we get there. Now, before we get to some content here, let's just quickly say hello to the folks who are in. We got Scott from Create, Save, and Invest. And if you didn't catch the collab we did over on his channel, all about YouTube and that, just go check it out. Just Create, Save, and Invest. You'll find him. He's easy to find. And we got Bleak in the house. Hello, Bleak784. Present. What kind of present am I supposed to give you? I'm just joking. And we've got Vineet in here with a holy banana bread. I like this. You guys are like trying to butter me up or something here today. And of course, we got good old Brian, who I believe is already back in Nova Scotia. So hello, Brian. It is good to see you. It's good to see everybody here today. So we got a lot of different things that we're going to talk about. First off, I guess on the top is let's start off with a very light topic. We're going to talk about beer. And I'm the non-drinker. Other than that time I did that drinking stream that, you can check out if you really want to. That was a promise to you guys. I always keep my promises. So Carlsberg beer, they're Danish. They have just bought Waterloo Brewing for $144 million. The reason, of course, they're doing this is they want access to the Canadian market. Well, they have access, but they want a better platform. So they are looking to expand deeper into the Canadian market. This will give them that option. So, if you're already a fan of Carlsberg beer, then this is probably good news for you. Or maybe it's a chance to try them out. I don't know. It may not be something any of you are doing because apparently the consumption of beer is down 13% between 2015 and 2020. Now, why, of course, is this? Who knows? I think a big part of it is people are being a lot more health conscious, and beer, of course, is not the most healthy beverage to have with a meal. So, I don't know if it'd be interesting to see if they're completely leaving alcohol completely, or if it's just beer. Maybe they've switched to wine. Maybe they've gotten a more elegant palate. I don't know, but let me know what you guys think about that, because you guys probably know more about beer than I do. And excuse me, and Brian here is still saying he's still in Prince George. Okay, Brian. Well, hopefully you get home soon. It'd be nice for you to get back there before Christmas. And Scott says people moved to the harder stuff in 2020. They may have. They may have, when everybody thought the world was going someplace interesting. And we do have some pandemic news as well that we got that we're going to do a little bit later as we move along. So that was our little bit there on beer. Now, home prices. I got some news on some home prices. We'll hit that up too. Jay is in the house. Hi, Jay. It is fantastic to see you. Interesting little thing. Don't forget, guys, just to hit that like button, because that way there it gets this out. And it gets it out to the algorithm and people who want to see it. And, and people who are like, maybe perhaps they're time challenged. They're not sure what time it is. It'll at least pop it over in their box and be like, oh, great, I can catch this. So anyway, yeah, smash that like button, because that definitely helps the channel out a bit. Hello, Jill. Good to see you. And the other thing before we move into the home prices story, we're building the channel members up. We're getting new people every week who are coming in. Jay, of course, is one of our first channel members, and you can see how his name has got that nice little highlight, while the rest of you are all gray. So the big thing with the channel membership is they get to see everything I do. So everything from the dividends that come into my TFSA to every single trade, every single buy, sell, they get to see all of that. They also get exclusive videos, and sometimes I even throw a few sneak peeks in there for them for, as well. So definitely worth the value. It's pretty cheap. So definitely do that. And heck, if you're filthy rich and you want to gift memberships as well, you can do that too. I'm not entirely sure how you do that because that's a brand new feature that YouTube has added in. But anyway, that's all I'm going to say about them channel memberships. Definitely come join the fun, and I would be more than happy to have you over there. All right, home prices. All right, so home prices are coming down. So for the 9th month in a row, we have had a drop in the overall prices of homes. So for November, the average home price in Canada came down 1.4%, which is awesome. Of course, when you think about how much extra interest you're going to be paying on those mortgages, for that very reason, not many people are going to be buying houses for that reason. And it reflects that. The actual sales of homes fell by 3.3% in November. So, prices are coming down, but a lot less homes are being sold. And that's all because of all of the rate hikes, of course. This is not the best time right now to be buying a house. That's for sure. Okay, so if you're not buying a house, you're renting a house. And I've also got some statistics that came out on rent. These all come from renters.ca. So the average rent in Canada in November is $2,024. Now that is an average across all different types of units. So that includes 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, semi-detached units. So that's just the average straight across the board. Now, here's the interesting thing. If you were to look at just the average for 1 bedrooms across Canada, it's $1,710. 2 bedrooms is $2,090. So we got a little bit there of priciness on that. Now, here's the interesting thing. Vancouver and Toronto, of course, being the 2 cities that have the highest rents right across the board. So Vancouver, if you want a 1 bedroom, just a single 1 bedroom in Vancouver, you're looking at an average rate of $2,024. If you want to get, sorry, I read the wrong number. For a 1 bedroom in Vancouver, $2,633. If you want a 2 bedroom, you're looking at $3,598. Now, if you got 2 people and you're going in and for a 2 bedroom and you want to be roommates, that would work out to $1,799 each, which is that's still a lot of money, especially if you're looking at people who are on minimum wage. I don't know if they could afford a $1,799 rent in a 2 bedroom. In Toronto, it's a little bit better, but not much. 1 bedroom in Toronto, $2,532 is the average. A 2 bedroom, $3,347. And hey, if you do that whole roommate thing again, you're looking at $1,673.50 each. Now that's just your rent. You add in utilities and everything else. Holy banana bread. We're talking about pretty expensive to rent right now. Now, if you're already in a rental situation, this would be the worst time to move because you probably have some amount of rental things. Oh, look at this. Jill just joined. We got a brand new channel member. Big shout out to Jill. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I haven't made a graphic. I should make a graphic, but you get the whole green thing. So there we go. There's one. Yay. All right. What am I talking about? I was talking about rent. So yeah, renting right now, if you move, like right now, you probably have a maximum amount of increase that your landlord can put on you every year. So even if you're thinking of moving because your place is perhaps it's not the best place, I would wait. It is right now a landlord's market because 1, there are very few places on the market and you're going to pay a whole bunch. So definitely not the time to do that. And let's see here. So we had Jill joining and we had Brian welcoming her. Hey, Brian. And Jill says, so the membership is $299 Canadian plus taxes. So it's $338 per month. Okay. Nice to know. See, I didn't actually know exactly how much it worked out to. So now I do. And now y'all do too. All right. not lose my train of thought here. So a little bit more about, let's going to go over to oil for a little tiny, before we get to oil, Vineet actually has something in reference to our last comment. Let's pull this up here. So Vineet says apparently they can increase it to any amount if the place is made 2018 or after. Holy banana bread. See, I was unaware of that. So that is not a good situation at all. I certainly don't want to see, anybody paying extra. Now, I know that there are people who have some protected apartments that they're paying nice, cheap rents. But yeah, you definitely don't want to move. And I can give you, like, I know when I used to live in Vancouver, this one building I lived in, it wasn't a bad building. It wasn't a great building, but they wanted to do all of the renovations because this was just before the Winter Olympics. And I was coming home from work, and every so often I'd see eviction notices on different people's doors. And I'm like, okay, they're getting rid of some of the riffraff. That's good. So then one day I came home and there was one on mine. And I'm like, what? It was a noise eviction. I'm like, what the heck? I went to the landlord. They said, oh, yeah, there's been reports of you being very noisy. And I'm not very noisy at all. Quite literally, when I watched TV, I watched it with headphones because everything ran through my computer. Even though I was by myself, I still just wore the headphones because I got a better sound. So it just turned out that what they were doing is they were making up fake excuses to get rid of everybody so that they could do a renovation and then charge out the apartments much, much higher. So, I was the victim of that for a completely different reason. But right now, it's basically a shortage. And landlords can charge pretty much a lot. So, all right. And we got Bonnie in the house. Hello, Bonnie. And Jordan is in the house. Hello, Jordan. Good to see you. Was it an eviction notice or a N4? I honestly don't have a clue. I just know it said eviction. Now, this happened this is more than 10 years ago, Jordan. So that I couldn't tell you. But it was in BC, if that helps. So, well, yeah, Olympics, hence BC. All right, oil. Before we get to the next comment, or before the next comment pops up, so a little tiny bit on oil. So TC Energy, of course, they are the ones who had that big oil spill. They have finally reopened parts of their pipes. Basically, any part of their pipes where there has not been an actual leak. Those have all been opened, but any pipes where the leakage was involved, those we don't have an opening date yet for because they got to go through U.S. regulators. They got to sign off where this did happen in the U.S. So, at least we got some oil moving, and that's a good thing. All right. And we get the friggin' Oracle in the house who is saying, yes, they can charge and people will pay because everyone needs a place to live. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, another epidemic that they're having, and you can see this in places like Vancouver for sure, homelessness is getting out of control because there are a lot of people who can't even afford the rents. If you have a meager amount of money and you can't afford rents, and the fact that there's almost no places to rent on top of that, there's a lot of issues. I know Vancouver, they've got tent cities starting to pop up again. So, it's not the best situation out there. I only know Ontario housing stuff. Yeah. So this was, like I said, this was BC, and this was just before the Olympics. So, I imagine stuff even in BC is probably changed by now. I would think, I would hope. All right, let's talk a little bit about them evil YouTubers. So, and it's actually funny because I got a niche. I am a YouTuber, but I'm not talking about me. So down in the States, we've always had this situation of people pumping and dumping. Well, that has now come to a little bit of a boil because the SEC is cracking down on YouTube and other social media pump and dumpers. So basically what they're trying to do is, well, let me tell you what pumping and dumping is. So what would happen with the pumping and dumping is, let's say, we'll call Brad. So Brad, the YouTuber, decides that he wants to make some extra money. So he finds a stock that doesn't have a very big market cap, and he puts a bunch of money into that stock. And then he sits and he goes onto his channel and he tells people, you know what? I think I'm going to invest in this stock. I think, and he gives a whole bunch of bogus reasons on why the stock is going to go to the moon. So all of his followers start dumping into that stock. And as they do, the price is going crazy. And he's basically bailing out, taking all of that money. And all of his followers are basically at the point where they've lost their money. And at that time, a lot of these YouTubers are actually lying. They're saying, oh, yeah, no, I'm still in it. I'm diamond handing my way through this, folks. This is just a snafu. And that's kind of the way this pump and dump scam works. Well, the SEC says no more. So they have charged 8 YouTubers so far. And of those 8, they say that the 8 YouTubers they charged, they've scammed about $114 million off of their audience by doing these stupid pump and dump things. So that's not a good thing. Now, interesting thing here is in Canada, they've actually calculated that about 36% of investors in Canada usually get a lot of their investment advice from, YouTube and Reddit. So basically social media. And so far this year in Canada, for the first 9 months of the year, we're looking at $61.5 million has been scammed. And now this is not from YouTubers in this case here. A lot of the scamming that's been happening in Canada is, if you guys see that stuff in the comments where somebody puts, they pretend to be the YouTuber and they put these comments with what app numbers on it. That's one of the ways that they're getting you. Or sometimes they'll have those fake commercials where you can, give us one Bitcoin and we'll give you back 2 and things like that. So that's one of those ways that they're scamming people, and they're actually making money doing it. So that's kind of sad. So anyway, all right. Now, here's an interesting thing. We're always talking about big stocks that are going to the moon. Well, I found a stock that has gone to the moon. Now, I don't think any of us can invest in this because unless you have access to the Indonesian market. But there is a stock, and this stock is an Indonesian mining company. It's called PT Adaro Minerals. And this is the amazing thing. So this stock is up. So for this year, this stock is up 1,595%. And if you guys want to check it out, I'll give you the stock name. It is ADMR.JK. So ADMR.JK. Now, just to give you an idea, when this stock went live January 2nd, it had a share price of $135. By December 18th, so now, its share price is $1,725. And if you think that sounds insane, and it does, well, they peaked back in April. So back in April, they had a share price of $3,030. Holy banana bread, that's insane. That would have been on April 18th. I'll tell you, if I had been holding this stock on April 18th, I would probably have wanted to get out. Well, at least get out enough that I'm going to be well ahead. I might have probably kept a little bit in case it continued, but this is just amazing. Now, I mean, I think, and I strongly believe that 2023 is going to be the year of natural resources, minerals type. I think we're going to see a lot of growth in that area. So this could be interesting. Maybe this is a precursor to this. But yeah, that is the world's best performing stock in 2022. A mining stock, not an oil stock, interestingly enough. And we've got Paul in the house. Hello, Paul. Good to see you. All right, so that is fantastic. Awesome. I love that. Now, of course, the big news. So I even put it in the title about the Santa hike. So the Santa rally. That's one of the things that we've been all waiting for and hoping for, is to get that good old Santa rally. And I'm still very hopeful for the Santa rally. But let's go through the week here. So we had 2 big events that were going to happen this week. And if you guys had seen the video I did on a Santa rally, I basically mentioned that these were the 2 events that we needed to have be positive to get our Santa rally. So the first one, of course, was the US CPI, and that came out. So in the US, the CPI overall, it rose 0.1%. And their year over year came in at 7.1%. Now that actually is really good because what they were expecting is a rise of 0.3 and a 7.3. So they beat expectations on the CPI and on the core CPI, which is basically CPI minus food and gas. That came in with a rise of 0.2% and then year over year, a rise of 6%. Now they were expecting 0.3% and 6.1%. So they beat expectations right across the board on the CPI. So on Tuesday, when this all came out, the market loved it. They were happy. But then came the Fed rate hike. Now here's the amazing thing. The market had priced in a 50 basis point hike. There was even people thinking that it might be a 25, but not many. Most people were pretty adamant on a 50%. And that would have been fine. If we would have had a 50 basis point hike, everything would have been fine. It was all of the other stuff that came out with that with the Fed rate hike. And basically, we're not going to go through numbers, but what it boiled down to is they said they're planning to keep higher rates throughout 2023, and they don't think they're going to be stopping until 2024. That sent the market into a tizzy. And when I say a tizzy, we're talking a deep dive. In fact, the market dropped after that Fed, well, actually, even during the Fed meeting. This was the worst drop that we've seen in about 3 months. So any of you guys watching the market late Wednesday, Wednesday afternoon when this was happening, you would have seen an insane dive, and we got it. It went very, very red, and we still haven't fully recovered from it. But this is going to be important when it comes to Santa rally. So if you think about it, a Santa rally technically is from around the 24th to January, I believe it's the 4th this year. So by the end of this week, that's when we should start to see things picking up. Well, here's the thing. Because we dropped so much, it's almost guaranteeing a Santa rally because the prices right now are very, very dropping as people are still panicked over that Fed meeting and over the whole fact that they're not going to be cutting rates at all in 2024 or 2023. So in a sense, once people get over their panic, you're going to see prices come back up. So you're going to see a movement, end of year movement. So you're going to see a Santa rally. It's not the Santa rally that we wanted, but it will be a Santa rally nonetheless that we're going to see. So that's going to be very, very interesting. And of course, Scott says still time. Yeah, absolutely. So I think we're going to see a Santa rally. It's just going to be a little bit different because we've kind of created it ourselves by the whole panic the overall market took with that Fed hike. When you say people, who are you referring to? Investors? Yeah, absolutely. Anytime there's fear in the market, it's because investors. Because what will happen is, if you have no faith in the market and you think the market's going to tank, some people will sell. They will start selling stuff. Because if you knew 100%, let's say you had a crystal ball that told you 100% the entire market's going down 20% over the next month and a half. Well, you would definitely sell everything. And in a month and a half, you could then buy it all back cheaper. So you have effectively actually made money because, that stuff will, of course, come back up. You'll regain all of that that's missing, but you still get that cash, the extra cash from the difference. So that's what kind of happens. Some people get into that thing where they think they know what's happening and they're thinking, okay, well, I'm just going to get out of this now. I'll buy it when it gets a little bit cheaper. And that kind of creates that whole thing. And in some cases as well, you've also got, in addition to that, you've got people who are doing tax loss harvesting. So basically with a tax loss harvesting, what you're doing is you're creating losses on purpose to apply those capital losses against capital gains so that you're not paying taxes on them. So if you had a good year in the beginning of the year, and let's say you took a bunch of profits because you had some stocks that went way up, probably energy sector stocks or oil stocks, you could conceivably be in a situation where you're looking and saying, "Oh, I've got about $5,000 in profits that I'm going to be paying taxes on." So you might want to take $5,000 in losses to sort of even the keel, so you're not paying any taxes. Now, here's the thing with tax loss harvesting, though. If you do it, one, you want to do it before. You got to remember, it takes stocks 3 days to settle. So just to make sure there's no confusion, you want to have that done well before the end of the month. So I would say before the 28th, even, to be honest. We'll get to that question in just a second, Vineet, about the other income. Now, or we'll get to it right now. And just before I answer that, I just want to say hello to Andrew. Great to have you here. So yeah, all of your income comes into play. So when it comes to capital gains, though, and capital losses, so a capital loss can only be applied against a capital gain. Now, whether that be a stock, maybe it's a crypto, or maybe you have a capital gain because of some real estate you sold, that's fine. You can supply any capital gain against any capital loss. So you're good. But now if you have regular income, like at your job, well, you can't take a capital loss. So you can't tax loss harvest to try to lower your taxes that way. The only way you can lower those taxes is, well, there's many different ways, but investment wise is by contributing to your RRSP. Because then what you contribute from your, let's say you put $10,000 in your RRSP, that effectively will lower your wages by $10,000. So that way there, you're not paying as much taxes. Now, where that can be important, though, is it's not always so much how much. A lot of times, the best way to strategically use your RRSP is to look at tax brackets. So if you're about $1,000 into a tax bracket, you absolutely want to put a little, maybe $1,010 into your RRSP to knock you into that lower tax bracket. So you're overall paying a lower percentage. So that's one area where that would be absolutely an awesome place to be using tax loss harvesting. Or in that case there, that was for RRSP. So tax loss harvesting, you're using that just for capital gains. Now with other income, I did say there were other ways that you could handle that. One is if you're a person who works from home, there are provisions out there that you might be able to look into to get some tax breaks, some tax benefits. There's other different tax ways, but investing wise, no. And here's the other thing. If investing wise, if you're day trading, well, that is no longer capital gains or capital losses. That becomes business income. And that's one of those things. When you're doing a lot of trading in a short amount of time, you want to be careful that doesn't get earmarked as business income, because if it does, you can't use capital losses to apply to it. Now, luckily, with day trading, for example, if you're taking losses and you're taking wins, you can at least apply the losses against your wins to try to lower that down. So basically, it comes down to what your net income is over that time. If you think about it, because you may, let's say you lose 100, you lose 100, you gain 500, you lose 100, you lose 100, you gain 500. Well, in that scenario, you lost about 500, you gained about 1,000, but you're only going to be taxed on about 500 because the 500 losses goes against the 1,000 wins, which takes your income down to, 500 in that situation. So just kind of the way it all gets. All right. Oh, what's earmarked? Okay, so earmarked is you can claim something is a capital loss when you're doing your taxes, but the government, the CRA, they'll look at your activity, and they'll be like, oh, well, why are you selling and trading that stock over and over again all day long? That is obviously not an investment. You're doing, that's business activity. You're day trading. And that is how they would earmark that as You know, and a lot of times as well, your broker may do that for you right up front. They might be like, okay, this is not great. But yeah, anyway, we'll talk a lot more about taxes as we start to move into tax season. And, you know, maybe we can even have, well, I don't think we need to. Just bring it up in here. We'll continue to talk more and more about taxes as we move in there. Now, here's that thing. For if you are trying to get rid of those capital gains, as I sort of mentioned earlier, try to I would say before the 28th or even the 27th to be safe of December, make sure you've done your tax loss harvesting before then, if that's something you're going to do. I do have a video from last year on tax loss harvesting. It's still valid. So if you want more information, just check that out or head over to our Facebook group. It's Mountain Finance on Facebook. And you can put some questions in there, and I'll be more than happy to reply to you because I do that. All right. Now, Paul says, unless you were selling a stock, what's the advantage of a Santa rally? Honestly, if you're not selling a stock, there's not a lot of advantage. Also depends on your situation. If we're getting a nice, good Santa rally, as a day trader, I can certainly use that to make money, but I can also make money in a crappy market too. So, you know, I was making money the last couple of days simply because the market was predictable. Whenever the market is predictable, I can make money. It's when we have some sort of the black swan event of when the Fed, you know, you can't really predict that it's going to. Every indication was before that meeting that we were looking good, that actually we were going to go up after that meeting, but we didn't. We went the opposite. So that's kind of one of those things that are unpredictable. But once you've got yourself into a situation where I know things are low, and I also know how, for example, one of the stocks that I trade is MFC, so Manulife Financial. I can tell because I know how it behaves. So I know what will happen at the beginning of the day, every day at the beginning of the day on MFC. It does one of two things. It goes up, so it takes a big jump up, and then it comes right down really fast, and then it goes back up, and then it comes down, and it slowly oscillates over the first hour. Or it goes down. It goes down, and then it comes back up, and then it goes back down. But either way, whichever way it goes, it's going to do this oscillation thing. So that's where I can jump in, and I can start buying and selling. And usually, you know, I might get 3 or 4 buy sells in that first hour. And, you know, I'm making money off of that. And there's a few other stocks that do similar things. But Manulife Financial is just very predictable with how it... I'll take my watch off so she doesn't keep talking.
I'm not sure I understand.
That's okay. You don't need to understand, Siri. Anyway, hopefully you guys could actually hear her talking, because otherwise it would sound like I was just talking to nobody, which I guess would be cool anyway. But yes, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah, just the way that things move, so I can make predictions that way. But with the Santa rally itself, if you are absolutely in the market to buy stuff, well, a Santa rally kind of puts a pin in it, right? Because all of a sudden prices are going up a little bit, and you're like, oh, I like the deal prices I was getting earlier. Now, as a long-term investor, always keep in mind dollar cost averaging will make you the most money over long periods of time. It's been proven. It's absolutely true. But the other part about a Santa rally is that people will often feel really good when they see a green market. It's kind of one of those things. People give in way too much to psychology when it comes to the market. I mean, it's pretty easy. It's very easy math to know that the best way to make money in the market is to buy low, sell high. But do you know that most people in the market are doing the opposite? They're buying high because they get caught up in all the excitement. It's like, oh my God, this thing is doing so great. I'm going to buy high. I'm going to buy high. And they do. They buy it nice and high. All of a sudden, there's a change in the market and the price goes down and they start to panic. And they're like, oh no, what if it goes all the way to zero? What if I'm losing so much money? And they sell. And they have lost money now because they, you know, and the funny thing is it then turns around and it starts coming back up and they're like, oh, I can't believe I sold it. oh my God, I got to get back in. This thing's going back to the moon. And they just rinse and repeat. In some cases, they hurt themselves so much along the way that they just give up investing. So it's kind of a sad little story, I guess, with the way that sometimes goes. All right. Now we got another story coming up. And it is called Google versus ChatGPT. I love coffee. All right. So, as you guys know, I've been talking about ChatGPT for a while. And actually, my last video, the bid ask spread one, I let ChatGPT script it for me. I was like, okay, let's see what they could do. I mean, I read over what ChatGPT said because I wanted to make sure that ChatGPT didn't give any incorrect information, and it actually did a half decent job. So in that video, and I did ask, nobody guessed, but I did ask, can you figure out what parts I wrote and what parts ChatGPT wrote? In a nutshell, I wrote the opening, I wrote the closing, I wrote that little bit in the beginning, that thing where I asked people to subscribe, like and subscribe. I wrote that, and I added a small little personal paragraph at the very end, that I threw in, but most of it was ChatGPT. So anyway, Google, one of the predictions with ChatGPT is that it will replace Google within a couple of years. And Google's kind of sitting back going, no, we're not really worried about that. And here's the thing. Google has a similar a similar AI. It's called LaMDA. Now, LaMDA was in the news not that long ago because there was that employee who left Google claiming that he was having issues with LaMDA because he felt that LaMDA had achieved true sentence, which is amazing. So apparently this LaMDA is much, much more advanced than ChatGPT. But here's the thing. Google can't just release it into the wild until it is perfected. For one, it's their name on the line, right? So if they were to put out a half-finished product, it wouldn't reflect good on the Google brand. But they are developing it, and it's going to be really, really good. And even the CEO of not the CEO, but one of their generals, whatever you call them, somebody big up in ChatGPT had actually come out and said that ChatGPT is getting a little bit overhyped because he says the things that it does well, it does exceptionally well, which can be deceiving. But there is a lot of limitations, and there really are. Like if you ask ChatGPT anything where it needs access to the internet, you're in trouble right now because it's kind of in a walled garden. It still has a lot of work to go along. But the fact that what we can see right now is so amazing is very, very cool. Now, it will continue to get cooler, which is awesome. And eventually, when we finally get to see Google's version, this LaMDA, I think it's going to blow. I mean, they've got a bigger budget, I think, than ChatGPT. I mean, yes, a lot of the AI stuff was started by Elon, but Elon. That's a topic I don't even know if I want to talk about today because every time I hear news on Elon, it just gets crazier and crazier. Like I think with this whole, he's been banning different journalists. Basically any journalist who references this one account that was showing people where his jet is, because he said it was an assassination issue. So I don't know. I don't understand the whole thing, but there's probably a better way to just not ban people. Because I mean, when he took over Twitter, it was all supposed to be in the name of freedom of speech. And he's been doing exactly the opposite of that mostly. So we'll have to see how this all sort of rolls out. And Scott says, yeah, Elon being Elon. Yep, that is true. So we'll have to see how that turns out. But that takes us to China. We always end up going to China. So the whole drama with China and COVID is continuing. Here's the interesting thing. So China removed, because of the economy, I mean, the world economy mostly, China got rid of some of their whole COVID zero idea, which is fantastic. But Guess what happened? In this case, they've now run into a lot of serious outbreaks. So COVID is sort of running a little rampant. They're not even reporting the asymptomatic cases anymore because they're saying it's just too overwhelming. And it is thought that by the end of the summer, China may see as many as 1 million COVID deaths. Now, luckily, there still doesn't seem to be, they don't seem to be backstepping on moving back to COVID zero, which is fantastic for the supply chain for sure. All right. Now, Justin jumped in here and yeah, he was talking about, yeah, apparently, and that's exactly right. What Justin says, the doxing involves something attacking his car with his kids in it. I think it was somebody posted the location of the car with his kid in it or something to that effect. But yeah, absolutely. And I understand why Elon's a little freaked about it, but there's ways to handle it without going after the journalists. Like I would say, honestly, go after the account that's doing it. So I think it was Elon Jet or at Elon Jet. I know we also banned another one called at Celebrity Jets. So yeah, definitely take them down, take down their aliases. Maybe ask the reporters to not present that information and explain why. But I don't think sort of mass banning journalism is really good right now, because what Elon needs right now more than anything is some good PR, because right now he's not getting good PR. I mean, he got booed off of the Dave Chappelle show, so that's not good. All right, now, oh, look at that, we're already at 41 minutes. Holy banana bread. Yeah, so I see the journalist basically aiding and abetting the doxer, so I'm fine with a temporary suspension. Well, keep in mind, Justin, when he did it, he didn't sort of say if it was going to be temporary, it was going to be 9 days. I just think there should have been a little bit of conversation going on there. It's just one of those things that should have happened. Because here's the thing, the information that even the doxer, so the so-called doxer, now you have to look at it too. The information that this site was providing is information that's publicly available. So we're talking about, because all flight plans are publicly available. They're filed that way. So maybe that's where they need to start looking at things, as like maybe there needs to be some kind of a protection so that people can't, just go in and find out where different planes, like especially if it's a plane that belongs to a celebrity, where it's going, or maybe even, well, I don't know about a politician. I think a politician has to stay accountable to a certain extent. It's kind of that thing with celebrity, though. I mean, it does come with that part and parcel. But, I'm glad that looks like it's getting resolved. Let's see here. People are using Chat GPT now for their Tinder messages. Really? That's kind of different. Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't know how they found out, or if that's just an over-exaggeration about the car part. So I don't have the information to sort of, but if it's just something simple like flight plans, that's a little bit different. Now, if that person was doxing and getting car locations, and if the reporters were saying, oh yeah, here's where Elon's kid is right now, that's completely a different story. And, yeah, I just think it's something that we need to take a little bit. We need to be serious about it, but at the same time, we also have to sort of, if you want to be a freedom of the press and a freedom of free speech advocate, you got to sort of not paint your lines with something you can just erase and move them around when it suits you. So, and I'm and I'll keep this in mind. I'm still pretty pro Elon. I just wish he would get back to doing a lot of the stuff that he is doing, and maybe here's some more light. Now, Justin, you probably know more about this than me at this point, because I did not know that this guy is some kind of a hacker that borderline blackmail to stop doxing him. See, that part I didn't hear about at all. So if that is absolutely true, then, yeah, the press probably should back off on that a little bit. So, but I don't know if it requires a ban to do it. I think in a situation like that, I think if you talk to the press, you talk to the individuals doing it and say, hey, look, can you remove these tweets? Here's the issue. I think most of them probably would be willing to do that, but I don't know if that conversation happens. So, that's kind of that thing. All right. Last bit of news I have is some crypto news. Everybody's favorite FTX founder got arrested. So Sam Bankman-Fried, he was arrested in the Bahamas on Monday, and he's being charged with 8 different criminal accounts. Not accounts, counts. So he's looking at conspiracy to commit wire fraud. He's also getting charged with securities fraud. He's also got some other individual charges of securities fraud, as well as some more wire fraud charges. He's got money laundering charges and conspiracy to avoid campaign finance regulations. So those are just some of the charges that are being dropped against Mr. Sam Bankman-Fried. So that's looking to be very interesting. Now, in Canada, there's some brand new news. So the Canadian Securities Administration, usually they just call them the CSA, they are expanding their crypto regulations. And what they want to do is they're looking to ban margin and leverage trading in Canada when it comes to Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. So that's going to be interesting. I think this is a bit of the reaction to the whole FTX thing, but at the same time, I know there's a lot of crazy leverage you can get out there on crypto. So, this is a great way to sort of keep people from getting completely wrecked. Let's see. O'Leary is looking more and more like a clown. Well, I know he lost a little bit of money with that whole FTX thing, so have to be interesting. I don't know what you're referring to directly because I haven't seen anything from him lately. But that's good old Kevin O'Leary for you. All right, let's talk about what's coming up this week. So this week, of course, tomorrow, the video dropping is 7 safe high dividend stocks. So these are basically stocks that have high dividends and very low debt. And that's what I was looking for in this case around. So got those for you tomorrow. I think they're pretty cool. There's at least one channel favorite in that list, which is going to be awesome. And I don't remember what I had for Thursday. I've got something planned for Thursday. The other thing, too, is our stocking stuffers. Those are rolling out in shorts every single day. I think we're down to number 7 right now. And that's going to count all the way up to, I think it ends on the 24th. So that'll be kind of cool. We have a stream, as I said, or at the beginning of the show. We have a stream next Saturday, so Sunday, Christmas Day. I believe I'm tentatively looking at about 11 a.m. to start it, but I have to just double check. I may have to go a little bit earlier, depending on the afternoon times once I get that in. But I think it's probably 11 a.m. is probably a nice safe bet, but we'll find out. I'll notify you guys sooner than later. And as I say every year for the Christmas stream, your family has to come first. You can always watch the replay on that. So that's not a bad thing. We got a Danter in the house, Tim Danter. Now, I'm not 100% sure if we agreed to this or not, but I think on the Danter show on Wednesday night, so that's over on the Tim and Nancy Danter channel, if you want to check that out, I think Tim, myself, and if the friggin' Oracle's going to be on there, I think we're all wearing Santa hats. I don't know 100% if they agreed to it, but I think we are. So I'm going to show up in a Santa hat nonetheless, and I'll wear a Santa hat, of course, for the Christmas stream next week, because that is just how I get my merry on. So that's going to be really, really interesting. Coming up to the end of the year, so we're looking at, and I also mentioned I'm going to probably throw in some kind of a live stream or something just to talk about changes to the channel. There's going to be a few changes because, you got to grow, right? Oh, and here, apparently Ken is. So, all right, so now we just need to get Tim to do it. Are you still doing the Danger Show? Is awesome. Where is Rye? That's a good question. Nobody knows where Rye is. that's one of those fun things. The only thing I can tell you, Mike, about Rye is that he's working in Ottawa for his parents, helping them out, and looks like he's going to be staying there for a while. I don't know. I don't know when he's going to get back to doing videos. I know he does occasionally do at least a community post just to keep things in. So what I would almost recommend is if you go over to his channel and go into his community tab, throw up a question. Like how the heck are you, Rye? on his last community post, and maybe he'll let you know what's going on, because I honestly don't know. That's all I can say about Rye. So Jess, yeah. So channel wise, still working on some of the changes. One idea I actually had today, and I think it's been an idea I've been sort of kicking around, is I'm thinking about sort of some challenge videos every so often, where we take it's kind of like the deep dive, but I'd be doing two companies instead of one, and it would be a head-to-head, sort of like two companies in the same sector, fundamentally sort of in a little bit of a match against each other to see which one is better. So that's just one little thought. So I just want to do a few extra little types of videos. We're still going to have our list videos. They may not be every single Monday being list. But there'll still be plenty of the list, because I know some of you guys really love the list. So we're just looking at different ways just to make the channel a little bit more interesting, and just to continue our growth. I've been super happy with the growth that we've had so far this year. You guys have all been pretty darn awesome, and that I do like. You're doing a podcast on Tuesday. Oh yeah, that's right. I am doing a podcast on Tuesday. I almost forgot about that. Over with passive dividends income or something. I'll put a link up over on the Facebook change, and I'll throw it up on the community tab as well. I think it's with Dividend Dave. So he sometimes shows up on Ken's channel on the Friggin' Oracle. So I'm not 100% sure what we're talking about. He hasn't really thrown any information at me, at least on that. And let's see. What about the DCA 2023 challenge for stocks or a mutual fund? Not a bad idea. Yeah, on Wealthsimple. That's not a bad idea. So yeah, I am still kind of working on some different things. Probably going to ask the channel members what they're looking for, because I want to get their input, and you guys can throw your input over on the Facebook group, because that is a fantastic tool. So definitely use it. For those of you on Facebook, once again, Mountain Finance on Facebook. Every time I always pump the Facebook page over on one of these chats, it's like I always got to go over and approve a couple of invites pretty much right after the show, and that is awesome. Crypto Larva, could you do a video explaining the differences to people on covered calls and non-covered call ETFs? Yes, I can. All right, so a covered call, it's a form of options, right? So what is happening is the management of an ETF, if it's a covered call ETF, they're writing options on that, not just that security, but on some of the securities in that, or on whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. But let's say, for example, if they're shorting it, they're basically writing options saying that, they believe the price is going to go down, and then somebody pays a premium to buy one of those options who thinks it's going to go up, and if it goes down, then that covered call, they basically end up getting the premium as well as they get to keep the stock. But if it goes up, they lose. They have to sell the stock to this person, and they also have to. But they also do get to keep that premium. That's kind of the whole thing. So that's what they're doing. They're just creating these options. So they're riskier. That's why they're riskier than regular ETFs, because they can be wrong. If you have a situation where that person is making wrong calls on covered calls, well, let's use an example. We'll use BTCY. So that there is the Bitcoin. That's the Purpose High Yield Bitcoin. So they're using covered calls to pay these dividends that they have on that ETF, it's actually a spot ETF because it's just Bitcoin. But what they're doing mostly is they're predicting, like, for the longest time, they're probably doing a lot of shorts because where Bitcoin has been very volatile and it's been going down. So that's kind of interesting. And that's how they're making extra money through the whole premiums. I can do, this is one of these things where it's like, I don't have the time to go into a full long description, in the dying minutes, but I will definitely get a video together for you for this one in going into the new year. And Tim says, with the recession looming, would it be a dandy buy over the year? It could be a dandy buy. Yeah, absolutely. But here's the thing about a recession. Keep in mind that about halfway through a recession, that's usually when the bear market turns back into a bull market, because that's what will power us out of that recession. So yeah, DCAing could be interesting. And I know Tim loves DCA challenges. He had a Bitcoin one that he was doing this year over on his channel. So another reason to check out his live stream, so you guys can check that out. Let's see. Appreciate it a lot and looking forward to the New Year's videos to tune into. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of things. And I'm probably one of the few, I don't want to say, I won't say the only YouTuber, but I'm one of the few YouTubers that I try my best to take your guys' suggestions and the things that you guys want as videos. There's been a couple of times I've looked at a video and I'm like, okay, well, somebody in the community requested this one. I don't think it's a good video, at least, that I'm not going to get a lot of traction on it, but I still made it anyway because it was a regular who was requesting it and going, yeah, I really want that video. And I'm like, okay, you know what? We're doing it. So yeah, Tim has got up to 1/10 of a coin. So that's not too shabby. But yeah, so that's what's coming up. We're going to have as we move towards the end of the year as well, after we get past Christmas, we're going to look at a lot of our shows are going to be looking towards, some of the trends and some of the things that are going to be going on in 2023. Like right now, you guys know I'm pretty bullish on the mineral sector. So mineral mining, natural resources for 2023. So we'll see what other sectors are going on and what's going to happen. And we'll, of course, do a very big look at that recession coming up. And here's Scott, DCA Bitcoin for the win. All right. And not putting that up to friggin' Oracle, but you're funny. That's kind of funny. So that is kind of where we're at. So I'm also going to look, I'll do some kind of a video. I don't know if it'll be like it's probably going to be just a live stream, just once I've got everything ironed out the format wise. I am changing times a little bit. Like right now, I do drop videos at 11 a.m. And according to YouTube, I should be dropping them later in the day. I don't want to go too late. I don't want to make you guys wait too late. So I'm probably going to knock them up about an hour. So it'll probably be like noon Eastern instead of 11 a.m. And probably on Saturday, it might go up an hour as well. I don't want to go more than that because I don't want to, you know how sometimes people come in and they just change things way too much and it's like you don't even recognize it anymore. I don't want to do that. Everything I do change-wise is going to be nice and subtle and, just little things, a few different new format things. So that'll all be awesome. All right. Now, as we're getting to the end, if you guys have not hit like yet, what are you waiting for? It's there. It wants to be blue. So just click on that. And if you're here and you haven't subscribed to the channel, well, holy banana bread, you don't know what you're missing. Click on that. And then, we're all even on that. So that's fantastic. Yeah, so I think that's about all I've got to say. Unless, of course, you guys have some stuff that you want to. And here's Tim. Tim saying, create, save, invest. Yeah. So yeah. Well, and everybody, I think, is pretty much a DCA fan in here anyway, to some extent. And yeah, he made me break character. Gotcha. I'm good at making people break character, so that's kind of cool. All right. Well, we're in our dying minute. I want to thank you guys all for being here tonight, or today, this afternoon. When I first started the live stream, about a year ago or so, it was a little more than a year ago. It was actually at nighttime. It was a Saturday night live stream. And, we used to do just the guest format. Me and a guest, we talked about a topic or whatever for the night. And then I decided it wasn't so much that I was just like, do I have to go out and get a guest again? I just thought, no, I'd rather do a little bit more commentary, see what we can do. And as far as I know, there's not going to be a lot of changes to the live stream format because I think people like it. I think people are like, come on in, talk for an hour straight about whatever is in the news, or whatever tangents we go off on, because I do like tangents. Keep your bananas in the fridge. They keep longer. That is actually true. Unless if you're making banana bread, you know how much I love banana bread. If you're making banana bread, don't put your bananas in the fridge because you want them to brown faster. And by keeping them out of the fridge, some of the gases that are released by the banana will encourage other bananas within the banana bunch to ripen faster. So that's just a nice little thing about bananas. It's like I almost feel like I should have a piece of banana trivia every week. Keep bringing it, Ken. That's your challenge. Show up every week with a piece of banana trivia, and then we'll go off on it. So anyway, that's fantastic. So everybody have a fantastic week. Get your shopping done because you're running out of time. This is pretty much your last weekend to do any kind of shopping and whatever's left in the week. If you're ordering stuff from Amazon, order it now because, you need to get it by Friday. And I'm going to leave the show on this here crypto larvae. Take care and have a great Christmas. Absolutely. And I can't wait to see you guys here next week on Christmas Day or, in the replay of that one, because once again, family comes first. So have a fantastic week, everybody. We will see you. We got lots of content all week. So we'll see you in that content and we'll see you back on the next live stream. So take care, everybody.